Well, drag racing taking over the streets of a quiet Nashville neighborhood. It's been an ongoing problem across the city, and now Wedgewood-Houston is the target. Welcome back to News 2 at 4. I'm Alex Dennis. Miranda Whittington is in the area, and neighbors told her there were racers out there this weekend, Miranda.
That's right, Alex. And if you take a look and see this intersection, you can see all of these skid marks. That's from this past weekend from racers out here doing donuts and other types of stunts. Now, I spoke to one local neighbor who told me she's seen street racing happen occasionally in the area, but she says Saturday was the first time she saw hundreds of people and cars out racing. From silence to madness. That's what neighbors in the Wedgewood-Houston area heard early Saturday morning.
That was the first time that's ever happened since we've been here.
This neighbor, who goes by the name of Brooke and chooses to remain anonymous, says the screeching of tires and revving of engines is what woke her up.
They were taking turns going into that intersection, and then they would start doing like donuts.
She began recording and called police about the situation.
They asked me if I wanted to speak with an officer, and I said, no, I don't. I just want the officer to go take care of that.
But she says an officer never showed up, prompting her to call again.
And they asked me, has anything changed since your last call? And I was like, yeah, I went upstairs and I saw what's happening. And like, there are people hanging out in the car. Somebody's going to get hurt. You better send somebody.
But again, Brooke says an officer never showed up. She says over 30 minutes later, a helicopter eventually flew around the intersection, flashing lights, and soon people began to leave.
They could have clipped that bridge, like there's a guardrail. So many times they could have clipped, and they did lose control many times. And those kids, like their head, like, you know, just, or a spinal injury or something like that. It's really scary.
Brooke says she's worried racers will be back, and she hopes if that's the case that police will come out and handle things.
I want to know if this happens again, police are going to come much sooner than, 35 minutes later, you know what I mean?
Now, I did reach out to Metro Nashville Police, who told me they did send an officer out to this incident. They also say that they had Air One come out, and that was that helicopter kind of circling and trying to disperse the scene. They say they do have a street racing initiative that works to crack down on street racing throughout Nashville. We're live here in Nashville. I'm Miranda Whittington, News 2.
Miranda, thank you. Well, drag racing has been a continuing problem across Nashville. Just last month, neighbors in Antioch were kept up late into the night by those revving engines. And last month, street racers took over a parking lot off of Bell Road, performing donuts, burnouts, and wheelies all night long there as well.